hope you're ready. This is going to be exciting.
Here we go, car starts up to go. Green flag is out and we're underway.
Just a few laps into this. Oh, the 37's getting loose. Oh, and he saves it. Oh, they're going 3 wide.
We've got a 5-way fight for the win of this race coming to 4 laps to go. Spectacular fashion.
Good evening, race fans. It is Friday night, which means it is time for some Premier Series truck racing here with Goat Locker, as the drivers of the SAVE22.vet Truck Series head up to the Irish Hills of Michigan, the final race of our regular season. And at the end of the night, we will have our 12-driver playoff field set. But first, we have 65 laps on deck here at Michigan International Speedway, where these drivers will be tested. It'll be a high-speed drafting kind of race to set our field for the playoffs. We're going to be bringing you all the action live right here on VSPEED. Thank you for spending your Friday evening with us. My name is Daniel Cunningham. Up here alongside me in the booth, Logan Threlkeld with Lucas Lyons manning the production truck. Logan, this is shaping up to be a good race here this evening. We've got a lot of drivers that are going to have to be in a win and make it in situation for the playoffs. How are you feeling as we head into this race this evening?
I am stoked coming up here to Michigan to watch this one. This is going to be all out, just max effort all night long for a lot of these drivers. Like you said, most of these guys really need a win and in situation. We've got a couple that are on the cut line right around that border, and you know, it's really tough to say how it could go, but we've got a lot of contenders up here putting down fast laps in the practice session that it might surprise you. So we've got a lot of competition for that Jam Printing and Promotion Pole Award.
Yeah, we definitely are going to have quite a bit of competition for both the pole award for that last spot in the playoffs. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at our point standings here heading into this last race of the regular season. See over there in that left-hand column, your top 5 drivers are locked in by way of a win. Patrick Drabick's name highlighted in red just has to start tonight to meet the minimum race requirement. As long as he does that, he's good to go. You see other drivers like Jake Ellingson, Michael Kostick, Jamie Mullins, George Jewell, Craig Bontrager. They're all still in a pretty good spot on points as it currently stands. Even James Kaufman and Tyler Justice there holding down the final 2 spots. But you see those drivers below the cut line, that's the win and in that we're talking about. If any of those drivers end up taking the checkered flag tonight, they all would be in that position to make the playoffs. They've all made the minimum race requirement of 7 starts, or they will make it by starting tonight. So that could move the cut line and create a little bit of drama here as we head through this race this evening.
Yeah, there's going to be drama all over the place. There's so many variables that can come into play tonight, and I'm really just excited to see what this place has to offer. We'll take a look at our track map next and break down to you what Michigan is. Opened up October 13th, 1968 in Brooklyn, Michigan. It is a tri-oval rather, 2-mile. It's basically a super speedway without being a super speedway. It still has some intermediate style corners, 18 degrees of banking in those corners, and even 10 degrees of banking across the front. So it's going to drive really, really fast here. We already mentioned it's 65 laps on the night. Of course, the pit road speed, 55 miles an hour. They've got 4 tire sets available tonight as well, with 100% fuel load and 2 green-white checkered tints if necessary. Daniel, I think you were catching up with some of the drivers pre-race and talking about what we might see for a fuel run here tonight.
Yeah, a couple of the drivers said be anywhere from about 35 to 40 laps, just depending on how big the draft comes into play as far as that fuel run goes. So be interesting to see how these drivers decide to split it up, because you're going to be able to one stop if it does go green to the end. So a little bit of tire strategy, a little bit of fuel strategy will be at play with that as well. And while we have a moment here, let's go ahead and take a quick look at our schedule to let you all know where we're going to be racing coming up here in the playoffs. First round, Texas and Richmond for that round of 12. Then heading to Bristol and Homestead for the round of 8. The championship, just like it is in real life, going to be decided at Phoenix International Raceway. And, you know, I wasn't too big on that choice at first, not going to lie, because Phoenix can be kind of hard to pass. But after we saw the real-life truck race there, with guys going about 7 or 8 wide on a restart, I'm kind of excited to get to that one and see if anybody tries to recreate that Corey Heim move as we get down to the championship race. Of course, those 2 short tracks back-to-back at Richmond and Bristol, maybe a little bit of tempers flaring in the playoffs as well. Never know what you might run into, but it's going to be a good one as we crown our champion for the Premier Series. But folks, these drivers have finished their qualifying laps. We have got a pole award to hand out, the Jam Printing and Promotion Pole Award, and that is going to go to the 49 of Craig Bontrager. And since forming in 2013, Jam has contributed printing and promotional sponsorships to more than 60 local nonprofits, with a primary focus on organizations that assist veterans, women, and children. They have been with Goat Locker Racing since the very beginning. Local and veteran certified. When they do well, they do good in the community. Craig Bontrager starting on that Jam Printing and Promotion pole with Mark Whitley to his outside, starting in second here this evening. Taking a look at row number 2, it's the boss man, Patrick Drabick, starting in third, with Jamie Mullins rolling off in the 4th position. Starting in 5th, it's been all thumbs up this season for Jeremy Gardner in the 42, one of those that's always in contention to win. He's rolling off in the 5th position, with Jake Ellingson starting in 6th. Starting in the 7th position here this evening is going to be Tyler Justice with Logan Sturgeon, one of those win and in drivers. He's starting in the 8th position. And rounding out your top 10, it's going to be Michael Kostick starting in 9th and Jamie Barkis in 10th.
Bringing up the back half of our field tonight is the 36 of George Jules starting out in 11th next to the 71 of Daniel Parks in P12. Starting in 13th, it's the 4 of Mike Browning with the 64 of Matt Knights to his outside. In 15th, it's the 7 of Charles Abert next to the 75 of Chuck Pegleg Feltz. Behind them, the 25 of James Kaufman rolls off next to the 85 of James Goshen. Last but not least, in the top 20, it is Warren Clayton in the 117 next to the 24 of Levi McCarty. Only 3 more drivers in the field to go. It's the 68 of Stephen McDonald in 21st next to the 99 of Brandon Wallace. And last but not least, it's the 37 of Michael Seymour to make up our 23-car field tonight.
As you mentioned, 23 drivers rolling off here this evening. Also want to give a special shout out to the drivers starting in 15th, Charles Abert. He's actually a birthday boy today. So just want to give that driver a shout out, say happy birthday. Maybe he could get himself a little bit of a birthday present here this evening, put it up on the podium or get his 2nd win of the season. But Logan, they are pacing down the back straightaway, getting ready to come to the initial green flag. We've been talking about this win and in. We've been talking about the playoffs getting set. I have a feeling that we are getting ready to see a wild one here tonight at Michigan.
I would say there is nothing short of that that's going to happen today. A lot of these drivers right here in the thick of it need that win. Marcus, Knights, Goshen, Wallace, Parks, Feltz, Sturgeon up here in the top 10 to start this race. All of those guys need a win tonight, so it's going to be fierce.
Indeed, it will be. You can see the pace truck there is pulling off the field, getting ready to come to the green flag. A pair of Toyotas on the front row here this evening. Green flag is in the air. We are underway here at Michigan. As they work their way through turns 1 and 2, the boss man, Patrick Drabick, he's already looking to the inside, thought about making it 3 wide there. As Craig Bontrager was able to slide up and clear Mark Whitley for the lead. But Patrick Drabick thought about sticking his nose in there, slots back into the 3rd position right now, but a lot of this field still running side by side, kind of what we expected to see, especially 3 trucks under a blanket. Oh, there's a truck into the wall. That looked like Bontrager got into the wall off the nose of the 77.
So they're going to fall all the way to the back of the field now. Bontrager currently running P20 as he is trying to catch back up on speed. Whitley falls back to 16th. We're going to take it to that VSPEED instant replay, and there goes the 49 just trying to stay in front of the 77. Whitley comes up a little bit too far, and across the nose he goes, puts them both up into the wall. Luckily, nobody spun around, minimal damage to the trucks. They'll be able to continue this race here, especially happening so early at the front of the field, but heartbreaking to see for Bontrager.
Yeah, definitely tough for Craig Bontrager, trying to keep control of this race here early on. Just wasn't quite clear when he made that move up, and definitely got the worst damage out of it. Pretty significant hit to the right front, but that has allowed the boss man, Patrick Drabick, up there to take the #1 spot. He's now in control of this race with Jamie Mullins now in 2nd, Jeremy Gardner in 3rd, Jake Ellingson and Michael Kostick now your top 5 as they currently run on track.
Daniel Parks just put on one heck of a move, sent it 3 wide middle, made it stick. And we got a stack up here right behind him. Trucks shuffling all the way around the racetrack. 4 wide at one point. Looked like the 64 to the 36th rider, George Jewell, ended up getting loose coming out of turn 4. Shuffles back. But again, just great driving on display early in this race. Able to collect it back up. Keeps the truck straight on the track. Another move looking to the bottom up here. Man, oh man, to the inside of Daniel Parks is the 24 of Levi McCarty. Had to start this race out with an EOL penalty. An outstanding penalty from the Darlington race. Post-race decided on aggressive driving for the win. So started at the back of the field, already up to the front half, running P8 for the 24.
Yeah, that 24 truck has been on the move early on. As you mentioned, started out back at the end of the field because of that penalty. Already up to the #7 position here, just 5 laps in. So he is somebody that's already showing he's got the speed. He's going to be able to get up there, make some moves, and be in contention for this win. But you know, far be it for me to stir the pot a little bit, but if he gets up there racing around that 42, curious to see if we might see any fireworks after some on-track activity that happened at Darlington. Just something to keep in the back of your mind as Levi McCarty continues to work his way up through the field. Now taking a look here outside of Michael Kostick for the #5 spot. That 24 truck is on an absolute tear right now.
Around the outside he goes with Ellingson up to P4. Now clear of Ellingson coming down the backstretch. Big draft from the 3-car pack ahead of him. Drabick still holds the lead with Jamie Mullins separating him and Jeremy Gardner. Another look to the inside. Holy cow, the 24. Levi McCarty shoots from P4 up to P2 right in front of the 66 coming through turns 3 and 4. What a move. What a clinic Levi McCarty is putting on right now.
Yeah, penalty or no penalty, he is already up into the top 5, knocking on the door of the race lead. And he's just honestly made it look easy driving up through the field right now. I mean, just an absolutely amazing display out of the 24 so far. He's going to look to the inside of Patrick Drabick and see if he can take control of this race. Drabick up on the high side should be able to pinch him down, maybe side draft just a little bit. But it's not going to matter. The 24 is clear to the lead. It only took him 7 laps to go from 23rd on the field to the lead of this race.
That is incredible to see here. What a drive. But Patrick Drabick not going to let it go by easily. He's challenging right back to the inside now as Levi McCarty up into that middle groove, coming through 3 and 4. Still side by side behind. Mark Whitley is trying to make his comeback up through the field. Fell back to about 15th, up to 11th now. Fortunately, I don't think that... I'm trying to find Bontrager. Yeah, Bontrager way back off the pace with that damage. 49 essentially out of it for now until we can get that truck down pit road and get some of that damage fixed here today.
Yeah, the best friend that the 49 could have right now would be a caution flag to come out to at least come down pit road, get as much of that damage fixed as possible. Mark Whitley still showing some pretty decent speed, as you mentioned, right there at the back of the top 10, trying to work his way back up through the field. So Whitley looks like he's still pretty decent right now. I don't think he got a ton of damage out of that. Still able to keep pace, still able to hang in the draft. It's just a matter of getting some of that track position back. But up here at the front, this battle for the lead just will not go away. These two drivers have been trading it back and forth between Drabick and between McCarty. They've just been trading that lead back and forth the last handful of laps here, and neither one of them can get any separation. A lot of it to be expected at a track like Michigan with the trucks. You kind of touched on it in the pre-race. Has a few super speedway qualities, especially with as big of a hole as these trucks punch in the air. And that draft is keeping everybody close together right now.
Well, we knew it was going to be exciting. I didn't think the racing would really start happening until later on, around lap 50 or later. But here we are, 10 laps into it. We've traded positions. Well, it says two lead changes on my side of things, but it's been at least, I'd say 8 or 10 by now between these two. This is just incredible to see so early on.
Yeah, iRacing only going to register the lead changes at the start-finish line, but as you mentioned, we've definitely seen more than just the 2 to this point, as Patrick Drabick now back around the 24, back to the point, clears up in front of him, but these two just racing the wheels off of each other. Then you've got Jamie Mullins, Jeremy Gardner. They're just kind of hanging out right now in 3rd and 4th, watching these two trade the lead back and forth over and over again. Taking a look a few positions back, you can see Jamie Barkis up there in the 6th position now. Another one of those drivers that's in a must-win scenario here tonight. It's Levi McCarty going all the way down below the white line. I don't think there was contact there, but it was close as he came back up on the track. Everybody keeps it pointed in the right direction. Drabick fighting back hard on the outside, trying to take that lead back away. This is almost reminded me of watching some IndyCar kind of stuff here with the way that the draft is working and the way that these guys are able to just generate these runs. So you can see those two SAVE22 drivers up on the top side of Mullins and Gardner trying to get their way around that 24 truck now, but just not quite able to complete the pass there.
Yeah, that was quite the sequence. I went back on the replay. I didn't see any contact between McCarty and Drabick, but it was a very aggressive move from all the way to the top to the bottom from McCarty. A big block attempt from Drabick. Luckily, it didn't collect anybody, but here's a charge around the outside. Jamie Mullins takes over the lead here with a big push from the 42 of Jeremy Gardner. That is a incredible drive off through the corner there. Wow, Mullins with a big lead, but that draft bubble is just going to hurt here. Here comes the run for Gardner. Now gets clear of Patrick Drabick down the backstretch. Jacob Ellingson now running P4 right on the back bumper of the 07. And there goes the 24 once again, working the bottom. Contact with Ellingson. Sends him up the track. Doesn't hit the wall, but he's going to lose about 5 positions here from that. Man, it's heated out there already.
Yeah, great job by everybody to be able to hang on to that. As you can see there, they are still 3 wide for position right here. That's Logan Sturgeon in the middle. trying to hang on to it. They get it sorted back down to 2 wide. Little wiggle there out of the 25 of Kaufman on corner exit. But yeah, I mean, that was just a phenomenal save there out of Jake Ellingson to be able to hang on to that truck and not collect anyone. But out there at the front, see Jamie Mullins now in control with the lead with those SAVE22 colors on that truck. I want to give them a quick shout out here as the title sponsor of our truck series. SAVE22 is a 501c3 organization dedicated to preventing suicide among veterans, active duty personnel, and first responders. Their unwavering mission extends to 4 critical pillars: shield, assist, volunteer, and educate. At save22.vet, and we appreciate their support for this series, everything they do with Goat Locker as well as the veterans.
Being represented very well right now by that 66 of Mullins. Still sorting things out through the back half of the field. Your top 5, Mullins, Gardner, Drabick, McCarty, and Whitley back up to the top 5 as he's working around the outside of Jamie Barkas, the 15 machine. Looking to take the bottom away, get to the inside of Levi McCarty, but McCarty will have that drive off of the top of the corner. Maximizing that speed down the backstretch, does not allow the 15 to sneak in there. 77 is going to stay close to that back bumper. You don't want to open up the door for Barkas to slide back in line. Also don't want to be too aggressive as Whitley looks to the middle. The 24 gets a little air packed on that rear spoiler, gets a little bit loose coming out of turn 4, collects it back together, and luckily stays in front of the 77 and the rest of the field here. Kostick in that 3 working the outside line now. In tow is the 27 of Ellingson.
Oh, almost, yeah, there was contact between the 15 of Barkas and the 77 of Whitley there. I don't think it was much, but there definitely was not any space between those 2 trucks. Great job by both drivers to not just keep it under control, but I don't think either one of them lifted either during that sequence. This is just an absolute hornet's nest right here at the moment. The top 3 kind of starting to separate just a little bit, at least keeping it single file. I think that's the top 4 now as McCarty has cleared that group as well. But it just seems like as we get a little bit further into this run, a little bit more laps on the tires, that higher groove is starting to become the preferred way around. Seems like you're able to carry just a little bit more momentum, and if you can't complete that pass on the bottom within a lap or so, you're going to end up losing some spots, or you're going to have to try to make an aggressive move to slot back in line.
We're going to see the 77 of Whitley and the 15 of Barkas trade positions here. Whitley now on the bottom attacking the 24 of McCarty. Barkas up on the top. Leaves just enough room for Whitley to get back in line here. 24 gets a big run, gets up underneath the back bumper. The 07 Drabick now pushing into turn 1. Reason all the lanes being utilized here through 1 and 2. Top, middle, bottom. It doesn't matter where you look. You're going to find a race car here today.
And up at the front, those 2 teammates of Mullins and Gardner, they are just working together, keeping control of this race. Kind of like you had mentioned earlier, almost treating it like a super speedway, just doing what they can do to keep themselves out front, stay out of that hornet's nest back there behind them. But you can see a few of the Goat Locker drivers getting close to where they can start working together. See Patrick Drabick there. You've got Jamie Barkas close behind. Jake Ellingson up there in the mix as well. If those drivers can get linked up nose to tail, they might be able to get up there and make a run at this to try to get themselves up there at the front of this field as well.
Be a great effort, and that's, you know, it's like we said, this is about as close to super speedway racing as you can get without being in a super speedway. And the teamwork does come into play with that. So expect to see a lot of that happening as Gardner now moves through the middle here as McCarty was way up on the high side. Patrick Drabick down on the bottom. Clear up into P2. The 15 of Barkas extremely loose out of turn 4, but slots back in. Looking to take the bottom through 1 and 2. Can he make it work here? I think he's a little bit too high up. Starting to drift up the racetrack a little bit, but not in front of Whitley. Whitley loose off of turn 2, however. It does open up the door momentarily I think Drabick falling down to the bottom here, trying to provide some draft support for Jamie Barkas down into turn 3 and 4, keeping him side by side with Mark Whitley on the top line. Caustic in line on the bottom. Jake Ellingson behind the 77 with Logan Big Fish Sturgeon bringing up the rear of this 9-car pack.
Yeah, and up there at the front, you've got Levi McCarty has now worked his way back up to 3rd, trying to find a way around that 42 of Jeremy Gardner. I talked about it earlier, a little bit of contact, a little bit of drama between them last time out at Darlington. You see a couple of guys getting really close to that wall out of 2, maybe making just a little bit of contact with it. See a couple of those goat locker drivers there trying to get nose to tail with Drabick and Barkas. And I think that's really just a big difference right now. The 66 and the 42 are committed to working with one another. Not that some of these other teammates aren't committed to working with each other. They just haven't really had the opportunity yet. They've been offset in different lines. They've been trying to make some moves for position to get where they need to be. But Mullins and Gardner have been 100% committed to just saying, hey, we're running 1st and 2nd. Let's keep it that way. Log some laps here. We can settle this out later.
I think once we get the 07 of Drabick, the 15 of Barkas, the 27 of Ellingson all in a line, I think that's when that battle for the lead will really start to flourish. We have to keep in mind now we are coming up to that 49 of Craig Bontrager, just crossing that start-finish line as our drivers are coming out of turn 4. So it's just a matter of a couple laps before we do have some lap traffic that might get involved. Bontrager always respectful, though. I would say he will do his best to stay out of the way. Got a good camera angle there through turn 4, so I'm just up ahead of the pack. Levi McCarty takes place of Jeremy Gardner now. Up all over the back bumper. Jamie Mullins still holding down the lead. 12 laps in front of the field for Mullins so far.
Yeah, the other thing, too, we are not far off from talking about green flag pit stops. We talked about it pre-race, 35 to 40 laps on a tank of fuel for these drivers. We're already on lap number 26. And just looking at the lap times, even with the draft, even with everybody being kind of packed up together, the lap times have still fallen off by a little over a second here so far. So there's going to be value to coming down pit road early, maybe trying to gain some track position, undercut some folks. Be interesting to see who decides to hit pit lane and when and how they organize that as far as making sure that you've got some drafting partners to exit pit lane with.
So glad you did.
And you can throw all of that out the window.
Just everything that we talked about. This null and void. Cross a big OX on that script there, Daniel. It's completely changed.
Indeed, it has. That was the 85 of James Goshen caught up in that one. As we take a look on the VSPEED instant replay, he definitely got the worst of it. They're coming up on the lap truck of Craig Bontrager, trying to stay low there. And oh yeah, it looked like when the 85 of Goshen cut to the left on exit to try to get around Bontrager, back end just started to step out a little bit on him. We'll take another look here on board with the 85, but that's an unfortunate way for the 85 to get caught up here. See just a huge speed difference. Bontrager dealing with that damage, and yeah, he just got loose trying to go to the inside there. Nothing really that Bontrager did wrong. He was holding his line, staying really consistent with what he was doing. Just, I think that 3 wide with just a little aero disturbance there just upset that 85 truck just enough, and around went Goshen into the wall.
Talk about kicking a driver while they're down, however. Bontrager just going a lap down. So now we'll not be able to get back onto the lead lap. We'll have more damage to repair. It's not how you want your night to go here in the SAVE22.vet Truck Series. We've got all of our drivers bringing it down pit road. Everybody now into the box. Let's see who's going to win this race. 4 tires going up, full fuel. The broken 49 finally makes it into the box, overshoots it just a touch. McCarty's going to come out in front. Jamie Mullins in P2. Jeremy Gardner, Patrick Drabick, Jamie Barkas in the top 5. Then Sturgeon, Ellingson, Whitley, Kostick, and Justice make up the back half of the top 10. That's a little bit of a shakeup.
Yeah, definitely a little shakeup there. And this is also going to put everybody right on the outer edge of that fuel window of being able to make it to the end. Based off of what some of the drivers were saying, I think they should all be good, especially with these pace laps. It'll be interesting to see if we run green to the end, if anybody's got to try to lift and save just a little bit to make it without having to come down pit road again. But while we have a moment, want to take some time here to shout out another one of our great league sponsors, and that is Lincoln Tech. Lincoln Tech's mission is to provide superior education and training to students for in-demand careers in a supportive, accessible learning environment, transforming students' lives and adding value to their communities. They're one of the largest automotive technology schools in the nation with 23 campuses. They're the title sponsor of Goat Locker here, or title sponsor rather of the IndyCar series. Lost my train of thought there for a second. And they are one of our biggest supporters over here with everything we do. Put your potential to work. Appreciate their support with this series, with everything here at Goat Locker.
Man, oh man, Daniel, I don't know how you're feeling about stacking this field back up like this. I'm a little nervous, but I'm very, very excited to see if we can get right back to the green flag action, see if we can carry this thing out to the end. New strategies at play. Will they make it on fuel? Will they make it on tires? We saw a lot of these guys starting to get very, very loose. Remember, we had that incident coming off the corner and a couple drivers into the wall. I believe it was Drabick, Ellingson, Drabick, McCarty, and Whitley, all three of them into the wall simultaneously. Be very interesting to see how this restart goes.
Yeah, and you can see there a lot of the Goat Locker Racing drivers, the teammates here, are now pretty close to each other on track. And also, if you're the 24 of Levi McCarty, you went from dead last on the initial start to in control of the race on this restart. So be interesting to see how he handles being the control truck here, if he can just get up there and put a stranglehold on this field, try to bring home the second win of the season. Green flag is back out in the air. You can see there McCarty with a nice jump on that start. He is going to be able to clear, moving up the track to try to block those upper lanes that are formed up just a little bit better. But he has got the lead, and he is going to try to keep control of this race.
Using that late in the box restart method, throwing off the timing of the outside truck. Single file for our top 3. Jeremy Gardner stuck on the bottom. Ellingson and Whitley looking to move around the outside through 3 and 4. Gardner will receive some help from the 15 of Barkas coming down to that bottom lane, but oh, Drabick, I think he just got loose at the bottom of 4.
Yeah, Patrick Drabick really drove it down into turns 3 and 4. Maybe even made a little bit of contact with the back of the 24 of Levi McCarty. But with doing that, is able to take over the number 2 position. He's going to look back to the inside. He's going to try to pull the slide job here on McCarty. Didn't quite clear up in front of him, may have been able to, and now it just looks like an old school snake down the back straightaway. These two drivers trying to chase each other, get that little bit of draft, but put the 0-7 at the top of the pylon. He is taking the lead back from McCarty.
This is a bold decision by the 07 to Drabick. I don't know the thought process behind taking over the lead. You're going to use up a whole lot more fuel than that number 2 car. If you can stay just right in the draft of the race leader, then you'll extend your fuel run by about a lap in most cases, especially here at a 2-mile course. I believe Drabick, one of our drivers with the driver camera on the night. Take a look at what our race leader has to offer. Just a very stoic, almost half grin on Drabick's face.
Here's the thing I'm really curious to see, and you can see it there where he's shifting his eyes as he's going down the straightaway, looking up at that virtual mirror, taking a look to see where the 24 and the 27 are running behind him, just trying to block any of the runs. that are coming. It almost puts you in the mind of when you watch those real life races at Talladega and Daytona. See those drivers going down the straightaway looking up at the mirror almost more than they're looking out the front windshield. No different here on iRacing. As this battle for the lead is still going to go on here. McCarty looking to the inside now, but Patrick Drabick has a teammate behind him with that 27 of Ellingson. I have to think that Ellingson's probably going to be working with the boss man here to try to give his teammate a little bit of draft, but McCarty able to slot back in between.
Does an effort from the 07 to keep the 24 down on the bottom of the track, coming through the trial section. Never saw Patrick Drabick take it up to the wall. Kept it about a little bit higher than middle lane. It wasn't giving any assistance to him whatsoever to get the run off the corner, but coming down to the bottom lane, down the backstretch, allows the 27 of Ellingson to pick up on that draft bubble. He gets to the inside now of McCarty. See, it looks like they're really close to beating and banging those doors. Drabick down to the bottom now through the trial, trying to help out his teammate, getting clear of this battle for P2.
Yeah, Drabick moving down to the bottom, trying to let Jake Ellingson get some draft, but now Ellingson is going to look to try to clear his teammate. Maybe a little bit of teamwork going on there where Drabick says, hey, you can clear ahead of me. Go ahead and take it. We can work together and try to do what Mullins and Gardner were doing earlier. Just be curious to see now if Pat tries to make a move or if he's willing to just kind of ride right now. And right there, that reminds me basically identical of what we saw out of the 42 and the 66 as Mullins actually gets into the wall off of turn 4 just behind these drivers. But you'll see that a lot. You stay tucked up right behind each other on the straightaway. You get to the turns, you offset just a little bit. So you can see there about a half lane difference or so. So that way you can keep some clean air on the front of that truck. And then once you get back on the straightaway, it's basically bump drafting if you can get there down the straightaway. See here just outside the top 5, that is Daniel Parks in the 71. He's trying to make a move here to get around Mark Whitley, another one of our drivers that does have a cam here this evening. Hey, you know what? He's rocking a little Ross Chastain shirt there, so he gets my stamp of approval, at least on the shirt that he's got tonight.
Whitley and I believe the 3 of Caustic were just 3 wide a couple seconds before we put the cameras on them. It was quite entertaining to watch and finally sorts itself out. The 3 of Caustic able to drive away from Parks and Whitley. He's caught up to now our top 5. On the outside looking in, but don't count Caustic out ever. This is one of those guys that's very fast at the super speedway tracks, always finds his way up to the front. With how similar Michigan is, well, it's just proving my point even more. Caustic up 3 positions from 9th to now 6th, and he's been in the constant kind of area of these battles for the lead.
Yeah, Caustic definitely always a threat at the super speedways. As you can see, they're almost 3 wide, and there's contact. Farkas to the inside. I believe he did get into the inside wall after contact with the 66 of Mullins. See if we can pull that up on a quick VSPEED instant replay here. Just running out of real estate on the exit of turn number 2. It's really tight between the 2 of them. Farkas shoots to the inside. I believe he did make some contact with that inside wall.
Yeah, I looked at it here. The 15 does make some pretty heavy contact with that inside wall, but gets a kind of a lucky bounce off of it when it's all said and done. If that happens about 30 yards down the fence line, there it is. That is a much harder angle to hit in that opening for the safety trucks. So he's very lucky he didn't end up into that outcropping of the wall. I think he'll be able to bring it down pit road and get most of that damage repaired. Speaking of damage, the 49 of Craig Bontrager has elected to bring it back to the garage after that second incident, being wrapped up and bringing out our first caution of the night. Jacob Ellingson, Patrick Drabick trying to work away from McCarty and Caustic. Those drivers not working together here for P3. As a matter of fact, Caustic taking a look at a podium spot now, trying to get to that left rear of McCarty, getting that side draft down the back straight.
Kostick looking to the inside here. We'll see if he's able to complete that pass. This is about the point in that first green flag run. Saw that outside lane start to become more of the preferred groove, and you can see everybody kind of single filing out right now. Something interesting that I noticed here, Logan, after that initial start, you know, Jeremy Gardner started up there in the top 3 on that initial restart. He actually dropped back to about the 10th position, currently running in 8th. He's kind of leading this secondary pack that's now starting to catch up to the rest of the drivers in front of them. It looked like at the beginning of that run that the 42 of Gardner was kind of backing off, saving a little bit of fuel there, so maybe a little bit closer than we think for that fuel number to make it to the end. But here the last few laps, they definitely started to pick the pace up a little bit. So, you know, there's a couple different ways you can approach it if you feel like you're close on fuel. Do you want to save it early at the beginning and just anticipate that it's going to go green to the end and you can make it back up at the end? Or do you want to do what some of these other drivers did where you just go all out and think, hey, maybe we're going to have another caution where the fuel saving won't work. I want to keep my track position. And for Gardner, it looks like he's elected to go that first route, save a little early on, hope he can make it up near the end of the run.
You know, having raced with Jeremy Gardner, broadcasting the last 3.5 seasons here of our Friday Night Truck Series, I can say without a doubt in my mind that the 42 is one of the best when it comes to that strategy game. I would say that he probably has the best shot in the field if we're talking about making it all the way to the end. I noticed that as well, but again, he's one of those drivers that even if he does lose that track position, he can very quickly thumb his way up through that standings board and work right back up into a podium position.
Indeed he can. Somebody that will be able to get his way back up there. And you see Kostick there on the inside trying to take that number 2 position away from Patrick Drabick. I don't think he's worried about it. I've raced with Kostick quite a bit. If there's one thing that he's not a fan of, it is fuel-saving races. I'm pretty sure he would rather run out of fuel and have fun just going up there trying to race than try to save to win it. So curious to see how he pushes the pace here. He's not quite able to complete that pass and now has Levi McCarty looking to his outside. And just behind them, Daniel Parks has worked his way up into that number 5 spot. Just kind of quietly worked his way up to the point. And Parks, another one of those drivers that's in a must-win situation, well below the cut line. And as of right now, he is putting himself in a position to really shake things up here.
One of my favorite sayings in racing is if you find yourself near the battle for the race win consistently, that race win will eventually come. The 71 of Parks, always one of those drivers that finds their way up towards the front of the field, putting themselves in contention for podium positions, race wins. It's got to come one day or another. You know, it's the 71's going to pick up that win here in the Friday night series. It very well could be tonight. The 3 of Kostick stuck on the inside, getting loose off of turn 4 last time around. Getting a little loose that time as Whitley now into the draft of Parks, charging down the front straight, trying to get up into one of those top 5 positions.
And this battle between Kostick and Parks still side by side for the moment. Mark Whitley starting to close up on the back of those 2 trucks as well. See Jeremy Gardner there, Logan Sturgeon starting to close in also on this battle. And one thing about it, these trucks run side by side for too long. It's just going to allow this entire line to get up there and catch up to them with the huge hole that it's punching in the air just from running side by side. You can see there Whitley getting up behind the 71, giving him a pretty good push down the front straightaway. Should be enough to help Daniel Parks get cleared, but Kostick still hanging tough on that inside lane. He just will not go away down there, doing everything he can to hang on to that spot.
And the worst part about this is Kostick coming down the front stretch and the back stretch with no truck in front. We mentioned it, 3 wide here through 3 and 4. My goodness, that is the 15 of Barkas. trying to charge his way back up. Being scored 4 laps down at the moment. Currently about to unlap himself and make it 3. It'd be very, very tough to do that with less than 20 laps to go here in Michigan. The 71 of Daniel Parks now falling back through the field as he is stuck 3 wide top with Whitley on the inside. The 26 of Logan Sturgeon. It was down on the bottom of that. Sturgeon falls out of it, not getting a great drive off of turn number 2. He'll be side by side with George Jewell down the backstretch into 3. Whitley still trying to put the moves on the 71. I think he's going to get it this time. Very well clear through the mid corner. It's all about the drive off though, and the 77 holds on to it. Got very close to the wall. But take a look at that. The 42 of Jeremy Gardner got around both of them. He's just at the back half of the top 10. Now knocking on the door here for P4.
Yeah, Jeremy Gardner has definitely worked his way back up. And, you know, real quick, just touching on, we saw Jamie Barkis was 4 laps down at the time. You may be wondering, well, what's he doing up there racing the leaders? He's still trying to work his way into the playoffs. He is the only truck on track still running that is not on the lead lap. So you might look at it and think, he's 4 laps down, now he's 3 laps down. But if a caution comes out, puts him back to 2, and you never know when calamity might hit. You could get a couple of them pretty quick, and he's the only one that would be eligible for a free pass. So I say that as somebody that has actually gone from about 6 laps down in a race before to finish top 5 simply because carnage ensued and I got a ton of free passes. So I bring that up to say he's still got a shot. He might be 3 laps down, and it might not be the best shot in the world, but hope is not yet lost for the 15 of Barkis.
It's another way that Michigan is so similar to Daytona and Talladega. Just cautions can breed cautions. We've been fortunate enough tonight. We haven't seen that. Just the 1 caution on the board. 6 lead changes officially at this point. We know there's a whole lot more than all of that. The 26 of Logan Sturgeon stuck on the bottom, falling back through the field, now in P9. Still trying to work the inside of the 71. Daniel Parks trying to hold on to top 10 positions at this point as he is fallen back quite a bit
Into
here.
the wall.
Oh, even worse so. I think we can chalk that one up to a commentator's curse.
Yeah, I think that you may be right on that. And that was a pretty substantial hit to the wall, especially being on the right side of that truck. It's going to cause a lot of aero damage. And you can see there just a little bit of contact between Parks and Logan Sturgeon. And when Daniel Parks got loose, just a slight overcorrection and into the outside wall. That is definitely going to hurt that 71. Pretty well end his chances as they currently run of getting up there. But as we mentioned with the 15, you never know when you might get that caution to reset everything. Things may fall your way, but back up here at the front, Michael Kostick has worked his way back into a podium position behind the 2 Goat Locker Racing teammates, trying to find his way around as we get down near the end of this race. Kostick definitely not out of it at this point. Levi McCarty's still hot on the tail of these trucks as well.
This is going to be a very difficult pass to get around 2 Goat Locker drivers at the same time. Ellingson and Drabick can very easily make these trucks just as wide as the racing surface, but we're going to leave the door open on the bottom of 1 and 2 just slightly for Kostick to get to the inside of Patrick Drabick for the moment. Doesn't have that draft partner to work his way down the backstretch. Levi McCarty, if he can get a little bit closer here, it could very easily turn into a 4-car battle if McCarty and Kostick would work together on the drafting sections. McCarty's going to get extremely loose on the bottom of 4, however. I don't know how he's able to hold on to that position, but Gardner is going to take a look to the inside as we work our way through the tri-oval. The 42 gets the nose ahead down into turn 1. Side by side with P2.
And back behind them, Gardner and Whitley now trying to work that bottom lane as Kostick. This is the best position he's really been in these last few laps to try to get up there and take that number 2 spot. He may be able to try to pull the slider, but Drabick stays tight on his door, not able to get the momentum. That's going to open the door for McCarty to look 3 wide on the bottom. He pulls up, he throws a block on Jeremy Gardner. And that's going to allow Whitley now to try to get some momentum on the outside lane. 2 lanes, 3 trucks deep, trying to find their way up to the front and take control of this race.
Caustic is going to get the nose ahead here through 1 and 2, but not enough to clear to the top. Coming down the backstretch, Ellingson will get the side draft. The 24 and the 42 are locked up together behind. Gardner goes to the top, follows behind Whitley, locked to the back bumper of Patrick Dravick. Back to the inside goes Caustic for P1. The nose is ahead again, but will he be able to keep it out ahead as we get to the stripe? I think he's got it this time. No help from behind for Jacob Ellingson, but holding on to the door here to start lap 56. 10 to go at Michigan.
10 to go, and business is picking up here at the front of this field. You can also throw George Jewell into this. He is caught onto the back portion of this pack. He might be in the best spot of all of them if these guys end up getting together as we come down to the end of this race. Might be able to pull one off like what you see at Daytona or Talladega and just take advantage of the carnage. Jake Ellingson, though, he's trying to keep that 27 in the clean air up at the front. Caustic, though, just about even as Mark Whitley. Man, he looked like he was starting to get sideways off of turn number 4 there. Caustic trying to work the bottom. He's going to have some draft help here from McCarty. Not sure if it'll be enough to clear him to the lead or not, but he is side by side with Ellingson, though. Ellingson able to keep that momentum up on the top. Caustic able to pull the slider on him, though. He's in the lead. Put the 3 to P1 for the first time this evening.
And just like that, we were 2 rows, 3 deep here. And now it goes single file down the backstretch. We're back to 3 wide here. Whitley on the bottom. McCarty on top. Dravick in the sandwich here. McCarty's going to get the drive on the top, staying tucked in behind. Jacob Ellingson immediately looks to the inside as he works his way down into turn 1. Gets a good drive into turn 1, nearly side by side with the 3, forcing Caustic to stay in that middle line as they work through 1 and 2. Back to the backstretch. Mark Whitley coming through the bottom, contact with Dravick and Ellingson. Dravick goes down to the apron. McCarty nearly wrapped up in it. Gardner shoots around the outside. He's looking for P3. How did that not turn into a caution?
I don't know how Dravick hung on to that, but he was able to. He is still at the back of this lead draft pack, and they are allowing more trucks to catch up as well. You can see Sturgeon, Justice, Wallace, they have all gone onto the back of this pack with the racing picking up front. At the lead, though, it is still Caustic on that high groove. Levi McCarty trying to work the bottom. Jake Ellingson trying to find his way back up there. McCarty with the slider on Ellingson. They make contact. McCarty's into the wall. They all keep it pointed in the right direction, but McCarty loses all of that track position. That is going to take him out of this lead pack. Ellingson able to hang on to it. Looks like he might have just a little bit of damage on the right front after that contact, but that's also going to allow Jeremy Gardner to get to the number 2 spot. Caustic still out front in control.
Sturgeon goes down to the bottom, makes it 3 wide into turn 1. Dravick in the middle, Whitley up on the top, nearly 4 wide, just slightly offset with Ellingson a little bit further ahead. My, oh my, more contact. Whitley gets loose, Whitley in the wall. Dravick sideways down the backstretch, yellow comes out.
Patrick Dravick almost up and over on the back straightaway. The truck started to get airborne, did set back down on the racing surface. That is indeed going to bring out the caution, and that is going to set us up for a chaotic finish. You can see they were 3 wide. They got into the outside wall. That was the 77 of Whitley up on the top. Dravick up in front of him. Man, that was getting wild there, Logan.
This is the type of racing that you get at the very end of the season. More bonus points on the line. The drivers wrapped up in this, already locked into the playoffs, just trying to give themselves the advantage. The only one that wasn't locked in is Logan Sturgeon, but he's going to make it through just fine. So the 26 looking great here. Caustic in the lead. Gardner P2. Ellingson holds on to P3, stays clear of it, just ahead. It's that little bit of a drive up the track from the 07, that just a slight nudge to Mark Whitley gets him upset back into the door of the 07, down into the 26. It's just a pinball at that point for Patrick Dravick.
Yeah, really nowhere for Patrick Dravick see it there. I think pinball is about the most accurate description you could have used there, Logan. Just back and forth off of the two drivers to his inside and outside. But here's the interesting thing that this brings up to me. You're going to probably want to come down and pit here, even though this is going to set us up for either a natural green-white checker or an actual overtime green-white checker. Here's my question. Who's going to be the brave soul that decides two tires is the way to go to get the track position here? You know somebody, especially maybe one of those drivers that is on the outside looking in for the playoffs, you know somebody's going to try it.
Absolutely. You have to at this point. There's no excuse for it. If you're in a win, you're in type of situation, two tires is the only option. You have to get that track position. There is nothing left on the table after this race. Jamie Mullen's the first one out of the box. I apologize. That's the 99 of Brandon Wallace. Brandon Wallace! Would you look at this? Another driver that comes from the back of the pack who's going to be in control of this restart.
And that is another one of our win and in drivers that we talked about, the 99 of Brandon Wallace, with the strategy call, taking two tires. Very surprisingly, only two drivers elected to do that. It's Brandon Wallace and Mike Browning. Browning will be on. Brandon, put your phone down. You're trying to drive, dude. You're getting ready to try to win a race here. Come on, 99. Just what we've come to expect here at Goat Locker. You never know what you're going to see with the driver cams. But that's going to put the 99 in control for this restart. Mike Browning in second, and then behind him, that is where the four-tire stops begin, with Kostick, Gardner, and Ellingson, your top five. Rest of your top 10, Logan Sturgeon, George Jewell, Tyler Justice, Stephen McDonald, and James Kaufman. I believe this is going to set us up for a natural green-white checker finish here. Man, I think you got to roll the dice here, but I just don't know, with as loose as we've seen these trucks, will you be able to hold on with two tires?
I love the call. I
absolutely
love this call. We've got two tire trucks on the front row. That's going to be a big benefit because they can't fire off as fast as the drivers behind them. That's going to cause a little bit of a checkup if the drivers in the second row aren't careful. So Kostick and Gardner will likely leave a little bit of room off the back bumper for coming into the Geico restart zone. But it is, I cannot express how much I love this call. This is going to be such an exciting ending. It took us the full season to finally start talking about, the idea of the best race of the season. I think this one easily takes the cake.
It's definitely in contention, and I'm with you. I love the call. I knew somebody would try it. I'm honestly surprised that more drivers in that must-win scenario didn't try it. But out of the guys that are on four tires, I'm looking at that 26 truck. Logan Sturgeon, third in line on the outside. I would not be surprised if he does an aggressive move to the outside here in turns 1 and 2 on this restart. Puts it 3 wide to try to get up there and get this win to lock himself into the playoffs. I don't know about you, Logan, but my heart beats up. My heart rate's elevated just putting up here calling it. They're getting ready to go back green.
To the wall. It's gone.
They're getting ready to go back green. Field in control with Brandon Wallace. They're already spinning tires. Green flag is out. The 99 is off and running. He is to the lead, but they are side by side for second behind. Mike Browning trying to hold on those two tires. He goes up the track. Don't think he's going to be able to maintain that position. He is starting to fall back, but the 99 is in control out front.
And it's a scramble at the back of the field. Kostick gets a great push down the backstretch from Jeremy Gardner. Another attack on the inside line, 3 wide down into turn 3. Wallace up to the top. He's going to fall back, loses the lead, hands it over to the 3 of Kostick, side by side between Ellingson and Gardner. Logan Sturgeon holding on right now for P4 all over the back bumper of the inside truck. This is going to be great. White flag in the air. It is anybody's ball game. And look to the inside for Gardner.
Oh, they're starting to right behind. Ellingson's around. That's going to put a lot of traffic out of contention. And this is what Kostick wants to see behind him. He wants to see these two Gardner and Patrick Drabick racing side by side for position. Kostick to the bottom, trying to give just a little bit of draft help to the 07, hoping they'll stay side by side. Almost contact between them. They're wrecked. Around goes the 3. Kostick spun on the last lap, and the win is going to go to Patrick Drabick. Coming home in first. George Jewell comes home in second. Jeremy Gardner sideways across the line in P3.
Wow.
Yeah, what else can you say after that? I mean, that was about as chaotic as we expected between the drivers up at the front and just everybody going for it on that final lap. What a race and what a finish we had here this evening.
You know, looking back at the stats too, previous seasons, we didn't take the Truck Series to Michigan for season 9, but for season 8, Jeremy Gardner did end up winning that race, coming home in P3, sideways across the line this year. What a... I'm speechless.
Yeah,
I did not foresee that happening.
Yeah, that is absolutely wild. As Patrick Drabick is burning it down here, let's go back and try to unpack everything that happened there on that final lap, because there was a lot going on. And, I mean, it was just as chaotic as we expected. I really thought at this point Kostick had the race under control. With that wreck from the 27 backing up a lot of the rest of the field, you can see Charles Abert getting involved in there as well. I really thought that once the field kind of thinned out that would benefit the 3 of Kostick, with Gardner looking to the inside. Yeah, you can see there Sturgeon just slides up, gets into the 27 just a little bit, puts him into the outside wall.
There's a slight wiggle from Sturgeon on the bottom, I think. Maybe just dirty air ended up upsetting that 26 machine.
Yeah, a little bit of dirty air definitely comes into play. Also, when you're down there on the bottom of 1 and 2, that bottom lane has slightly less banking than the rest of the track does. So depending on how you cross those seams, it can upset the truck as well. So take a look on board here with the 26 of Sturgeon. Yeah, see, it looks like once he gets his left side tires down on that seam is where that wiggle kind of starts at. He gets up into the 27 of Jake Ellingson. And then here, from here, I really thought that this was the 3's race to lose. He was doing everything he needed to do, goes to the bottom, tries to give Patrick Drabick a little bit of draft to keep the trucks side by side, and it looks like maybe Pat got into him just a little bit there with the momentum that he had. And then back behind them, just all hell breaking loose at that
point. To the inside, you got the draft assist on the bottom, moving up the track to stay in front of the 42.
Was loose.
No contact made. That was just an arrow back on the spoiler.
Yeah, absolutely correct there. I thought there was contact at first, but no, that was all arrow. Maybe still just a little bit of cold tires second lap after the restart. And Kostick gets loose up into the 42. And man, talk about being right place, right time for the 07. As you can see Jeremy Gardner with a podium spot here coming across the line backwards. It kind of reminds me of a certain producer that finished a race in the grass here once for a podium spot. But I digress. Got to give Lucas a little bit of a hard time here. But let's go ahead and man, what a finish we had there. Let's go ahead and take a quick commercial break. Let you hear from a couple of our great league sponsors, and we will be right back with full race results as well as a word from our top 3 finishers.
superior quality, ultimate protection, and the highest level of craftsmanship. We make our gloves for the hard worker that wakes up every morning and gives 110%. You deserve the highest quality protective gear that's going to work for you, day in, day out. We know it can be tough deciding what companies to trust for your hard-earned money. It's all in our name. We've mastered our craft to help you master yours. We make our gloves rugged, durable, and designed for you. Whatever the job is, we have you covered. We are your glove station.
A thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. InVets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. InVets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about InVets, visit us at invets.org today.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Michigan, where we just saw an absolutely wild race and a wild finish here to wrap up our regular season in the SAVE22.bet Truck Series. Let's take a quick look at our final finishing results for this one. Let you know where your favorite driver finished up here this evening. Patrick Drabick, the boss man, coming home in P1. What a way to round out the regular season for him. George Jules sneaks through the chaos on the final lap, comes home in second, with Jeremy Gardner rounding out the podium here this evening. Logan Sturgeon and Stephen McDonald rounded out the top 5. Rest of your top 10. What about that recovery from James Goshen? He didn't even get a shout out from us on that one there on the last lap, but after the earlier incident, bounces back to finish in 6th. Mike Browning in 7th, Warren Clayton coming home in 8th, Jamie Mullins in 9th, and Brandon Wallace rounding out your top 10.
In P11, it's the 77 of Mark Whitley, followed up by the 25 of James Kaufman. The 64 of Matt Knights puts it together and comes home P13. The 3 of Caustic, after the incident, ends up in 14th, all the way from the race lead. Followed up by the 33 of Tyler Justice in 15th. The 37 of Michael Seymour finishes out in 17th. Jacob Ellingson up into the wall. The 27 goes and comes home in P18. Chuck Pegleg Feltz in the 75 takes home 19th with Jamie Barkas in the 15. A valiant effort, but cannot get back to the lead lap. 2 laps down for Jamie Barkas in 20th. Levi McCarty in the 24 takes home 21st. Daniel Parks in the 71 gets 22nd. And last but not least, our early exit of the night, the 49 of Craig Bontrager. Man, from the Jam Printing and Promotions Pole Award to the back of the field, we saw it from the back of the field to the front. So, I mean, I guess it only makes sense. You got to balance the scales, I guess.
Yeah, from the penthouse to the outhouse, you could say, for the 49 of Craig Bontrager here this evening. But let's go ahead and get with our post-race interviews. First driver we're going to talk to is the boss man himself. Man, look at that. He looks all excited after this race. Patrick Drabick, you got us?
Yes, sir.
Well, hey, you know what?
Yeah.
Congrats on the win.
Thank you.
And I'm a numbers guy, so I got to point this out real quick. You are the first driver since this has become a Premier Series to hit double-digit wins. That is your 10th win in the Friday Night Premier Truck Series, and probably more importantly to you, it puts you 3 ahead of Jeremy Gardner for the lead. So how does that feel, and how does it feel to take home the win here this evening?
Well, what an incredible race. I hope you guys had a great time up in the broadcast booth because, man, from my seat, we put on a heck of a show. These trucks they got loose, really, really loose. And of course it was all about, staying with the draft and trying to block the draft and trying to block runs and figure out where your truck was. But, no, that's super cool. And, to win 10 of these races, is pretty amazing. But, to win these last 2, heading into the playoffs, I'm excited about that. I'm excited, for Jam Printing and Promotions to park the 07 back in victory lane again this week.
And that's race win number 3 on the season. You're only 1 shy of Mark Whitley. Then you got the rest of the field. Everybody else that took home a win. Only apologize.
Who has more race wins than me?
Mark Whitley on the season with 4.
Who's that guy? I don't know that guy. Is he new?
Oh, well, you'll find out because you're going to see him in the playoffs next week. I'm going to have to make a trip up to Indianapolis, and we'll have to fix that smile there, Mr. Dravik. But as for the race tonight, obviously coming home with a win, big momentum boost, 2 back-to-back weeks going into the playoffs. Just how much do you feel like that helps you mentally, knowing that you're coming in really just swinging the door wide open and saying, I'm the man?
I don't know if I'd say that. I'm just the guy that, stands next to the guy at the urinals. But yeah, I mean, momentum it's okay to mute your mic, Dan. That was pretty funny.
You got me.
It is
on that one, Pat.
Thank you. Anytime you can win, and I said this before, on Friday nights against these guys is pretty amazing. You got guys like Mark Whitley, Jeremy Gardner, who is always lights out everywhere that, he gets behind the wheel of a car. You've got guys like Levi McCarty that was up there battling all night, and we're swapping spots and trying to block each other and everything else. And Jamie Mullins ran a hell of a race. So anytime you get to park your truck in victory lane, I mean, it's a pretty significant deal. And yeah, I mean, I definitely like the momentum going into the playoffs. Unfortunately, I had to miss a couple races during the regular season. So these last 2 weeks for me were either win or who cares. Just trying to build some bonus points heading into the first round of the playoffs. And it just happened to work out for me these last 2 weeks. But it wasn't because a bunch of other Jake Ellingson had an incredible night tonight. And it just didn't work out.
Well, congrats again on the win. And I got to say real quick before we let you get to your shout outs, when Logan mentioned Mark Whitley and you said who, that was giving me Kyle Busch 2010 vibes right there with his what'd you think about Brad Keselowski? Who? So I don't know if that's what you were going for or not, but that's where my mind went with that. So but congrats again on the win, and who you want to thank for it.
But I just want to, I mean, we've got a bunch of incredible sponsors. Everybody talks about them. Not that they shouldn't be talked about, but Jam Printing and Promotions. If y'all don't know, the web store's up. It's live. We just got a bunch of stuff in today to stock the web store. We've got hoodies, we've got T-shirts, we've got hats. So please head over to our website, hit the web store, order something up. Amber over there has worked incredibly hard to make this happen for us. So I love her to death. But I mean, I just want to give a huge shout out to everybody that comes out and races, especially here on Friday nights, man. I had a blast racing with Gardner. He's my side piece. Don't let him know that because he gets all mad because he wants to be the main piece. But, somebody's got to be the side chick. And but guys like and Jake Ellingson here tonight, and JB Barkus, and all my teammates, but all these guys. I mean, congratulations to George Jewell tonight. What a run for him to come home in second place, and can't wait to get these playoffs kicked off. And of course, you guys. I have so much fun when I get to accidentally come up here in the broadcast booth and get interviewed. So thanks to you, Dan. Thanks to you, Logan. And if you're awake, Lucas, thanks. A big shout out to you guys as well. But no, I am so super stoked to get the third win of the season, 2 weeks in a row for the 07 Jam Printing and Promotions Chevy Silverado.
Well, congrats again on the win, Pat. I'm sure that we'll be talking to you some more as the playoffs roll along, and we will see you next week in Texas.
Yes, sir. See you guys.
And
That's
talk about
our
an
race
interview off the
winner.
rails.
You never know what you're going to get when Pat jumps up here in the broadcast booth. It is always it's always a grab bag of what you're going to get with him. But let's go ahead and bring up our second place finisher, George Jewell. This is the VSPEED broadcast booth. You got us?
Yes, sir, I do.
Well, man, you came out of nowhere to finish second on that last lap. Just talk us through that last restart in general and how you're able to avoid the carnage to get up there to P2.
Yeah, I had a little damage from a prior incident and everything, so I didn't really know how the truck was going to handle on that restart and everything. It was a little loose, but yeah, I was just watching. Everybody decided just to kind of bounce off each other, and I just went right through the middle. And yeah, I think I went into third corner and everything. I think I was like seventh or eighth, and I come home second. So I'll take it for being at Michigan at my home track. I kind of enjoyed this track a lot, and it was carnage at the end, but it was fun racing all night.
Well, George, it wasn't really in question on whether or not you'd make the playoffs, but obviously this P2 finish really sealing the deal. You're coming into it with a lot of momentum in your corner as well. I just mentioned it to Patrick Drabick, and obviously the momentum swing that he's got. Now, to be on the 36 team, how does it feel going into the playoffs, knowing that you've got the speed to be up here to compete, and you're in the playoffs? You can make it to that round of 8. You can make it to that round of 4, and maybe come away with a championship this year.
Oh, that would be really awesome if that happened and everything. But there's so many tough drivers that I'm still learning from to get better and everything. My teammate Jeremy, I watch Pat and Jamie, how they just fly around and everything, and I learn by watching and everything. A championship would be awesome. Just looking to just keep trying to make the momentum, keep going and go into the next round and try to keep it moving. That's all I can do. But it feels good getting into the playoffs again, and all I can do is just do my best. That's all I can try to do.
Daniel, he's a whole lot more modest than I would be.
Yeah, we've never known you to be a whole lot of modest there, Logan. Anybody that's seen you in Discord knows that. But anyway, I digress. George, congrats again on the second place. Good to see you get up there on the podium here this evening. Before we let you go, who you want to thank for it?
I'd like to thank Goat Locker for having me here, and Jam Printing and Promotions. I love the stuff that they send out through Goat Locker and everything. SAVE22, my team for sure. That was a fun night racing with them. VSPEED, you guys up in the booth really do it for us too. Alexander PCs, I got one of their PCs. It runs great. And I'd just like to thank all the admins and the owners and everything for putting this all together and everything and letting us come out here and have a good time.
All right. Well, there you have it from our second place finisher, George Jewell. Congrats again, and we will see you next week at Texas.
All right. Appreciate it. Be safe.
And let's go ahead and get a word from our third place finisher. That's Big Daddy Jeremy Gardner. This is a VSPEED booth. You got us?
Who is this?
This is Daniel. Who is this?
Who is this?
Yeah, this is Daniel and some guy named Santa up here in the booth. And we got Lucas up here too, but he's not doing the interview questions. But you're able to come home and finish in third this evening. Just talk a little bit about your race. It seemed like you were just not quite able to get up there and take control maybe the way that you wanted to, but still kind of hung around that top 5 for most of the evening.
Yeah, first run right there, my teammate Mullins, I got him out to the front, and honestly, just pushing him, I burnt my stuff up, but I was trying to be a good teammate tonight. I felt like Joey Logano's spotter tonight, dude. I called the whole race out. I felt like I was more of a spotter than a racer tonight, but man, I was trying to push him to a win tonight, to be honest with you. In that second run right there, I was full beans. So, God almighty, man, that sucks. Hate to lose like that, but he got loose and happened to go up the track right into me. So thankfully saved it. Didn't kill myself on that one, and got a P3 out of that. Yeah.
Well, you might not come away with the second race win of the season, but you're still going to go into the playoffs as the points leader. So a massive thumbs up to you for that. It's just an outstanding effort, Mr. Consistency all season long. Now, I asked the last two about the playoffs, so I'm going to not ask you. I'm going to ask you about the race here. We saw you fall back to around the 10th position or so. Were you thinking strategy after that caution that really kind of flipped the race on its head?
Yeah, I see what you did with that thumbs joke right there. But yeah, I don't know, man. Everybody on the outside was, they were full send right there. And I realized on that first run, I was kind of running it a little bit too hard. Yeah, I was kind of just saving tires there towards the end. And honestly, it was about to work. And then the caution flew. So, yeah, I don't know. I was hoping to honestly just finish tonight with a decent finish, kind of get the regular season championship out of the way, and go into the next round with a decent points lead. So,
well, good job at getting that P3 here this evening. Sure, we'll be talking to you a lot more as we get into the playoffs. But before we let you go here this evening, who do you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, man, Pat and Jamie at GLR. Man, I hate to say it, but congrats, Pat, tonight. The Alex Bowman at GLR, backing in the wins. I love that guy, though. MK Fire Design, Sim Motion, my guys' Premier Racing setup. So, of course, y'all guys at VSPEED. Yeah, let's see what we can do next week, start the playoffs.
Right. Well, best of luck to you as the playoffs start. Congrats again on the third place and the regular season points championship.
Yes, sir. Thumbs up for next week.
There you have it from our third place finisher, Jeremy Gardner. That's going to do it for our interviews and post-race coverage. Logan, this was a wild one. I mean, I feel like we've kind of already unpacked just about everything, but anything else that you want to kind of touch on before we wrap up here this evening?
No, it's like you said, we pretty well hit on that during the show, really. Just this, in my books, the best race all season. The action was from green flag drop to checkered. We never didn't have a battle for the race lead. We had some moments where they kind of tucked in behind each other and ran a couple laps, but ultimately there is always a challenge right there for that race win. And congratulations to Patrick Drabick on that. Third race win of the season, really helping him out getting into the playoffs. It's like he said, a fantastic show by all of these drivers in this 23 car field. It was spectacular. Would love to see it again, but maybe we'll get a good chance to see it at Texas next week, Daniel.
Yeah, next week at Texas Motor Speedway should be a good one as we kick off the round of 12, the first race in the playoffs here for the SAVE22.bet Truck Series. Same time, 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll be here to bring you all the coverage, as well as bring you the coverage through the rest of this season as we get ready to crown our next champion. But folks, that is going to do it for our broadcast here this evening. So on behalf of Patrick Drabick, Jamie Barkis, and everyone at Goat Locker Racing, for everybody at VSPEED, including Adam Baker, Bradley Cooper, Morgan Cook, Eddie Smith, our producer Lucas Lyons, and my co-commentator Logan Threlkeld. My name is Daniel Cunningham. Thank you again for spending your Friday evening with us. Thanks for tuning in and all the support. We will see you next week at Texas Motor Speedway.